Hello and welcome to this episode of the Excalibur podcast, hosted by me, Kyle Brooks, where we have real people, real stories, and real progress. Today, we are going to be visiting a very interesting topic. To me, it's the topic that brought me over here. It's the story of my life and how I became the man that I am today. So most people that know me recognize from my accent that I started in South Africa. From a very young age, I realized that things weren't as they perceived to be. So I started challenging the norm. I dropped out of school in grade 10, and from there, I was able to make my way into various technical colleges. I started by learning electrical engineering and developing the skill sets that I need to be able to survive in this life. But then something happened. I realized that I needed more experience. Just because of the fact that I had educated myself, I was still behind where everybody else was that was going to grade 12 or finishing their graduation of high school. So what I did is I ended up going to Scotland, making my own way up that side and surviving for various different times by sleeping on friends, staircases, couches, and really just doing as many jobs as I can. I worked for EDF Energy as a door knocker for some time, where I had to hone in on some of the skills that is required to be able to be a good salesman. But when you're trying to convert somebody from a current energy supplier to an energy supplier that might save them some money, especially in Scotland, it is a very difficult thing to do. Therefore, it helped me to build up my resilience. But that said, I still had something lacking. And I left Scotland defeated. I left there with less than I had come. But the experience that I had pushing through that adversity truly helped me to broaden my horizons and shaped me into a better version of myself when I re-entered South Africa. Now, at this stage, I was probably about 18, 19 years old, and I was looking for a job. Bearing in mind, my father had a very successful engineering company, so I could have always gone into that industry. But for me, it was very important that I was able to prove to myself and everybody around me that I'm able to make my own way. So I started putting my CV out there, my resume, to various different industries and various different job opportunities, until one opportunity came across my way. It was for a company called SAB, South African Breweries. And at 19 years old, working for a Fortune 500 company, it was a very, very interesting prospect. So I show up to the recruiter's office. It's a lady behind the desk, and at this stage I had developed enough charisma and charm, but also I leveraged a lot of my NLP background to be able to kind of understand what it is that they want and what it is that they want to achieve out of us. So I aced the first interview. Then they sent me for psychometric evaluation. Again, the background in NLP has literally given me a level up on anybody else in my life. And why I say a level up, because it allows me to see and connect dots from things that people truly want. Not what they say they want, but what they actually want from you. So during the psychometric evaluation, I pitch up. The lady gives me various different exercises to do, and the last one is a role play exercise where you have different scenarios, and you have to pick one of the scenarios that actually makes most sense to you. For me, it was going to see a tavern owner's business after his wife had just been diagnosed with cancer and actually passed away. The natural inclination, because you're still having to go and do your job, is for most people to kind of say their condolences and then move over into the actual sales part of that. But I didn't feel that was the right thing to do. So I focused most of the actual conversation on the person that was going through this tough time. How are you feeling? What is there that we can do to help you as a company? Is there any burdens that we can remove from your life right now? Because I know it's chaotic, and I know that you are feeling the pressure and the loss. So how can we, as SAB, service you in a way that is going to be able to lighten your load in this difficult time? Needless to say, I aced the psychometric evaluation and went up for my first and second interview with the regional manager of SAB. His name was Paul. Phenomenal mentor. So get into this place, and the region that they had designated for me to grow was Langa Nyanga, Guguletu, Khayelitsha. So for those that don't know a lot about South Africa, those areas are relatively rough and usually very impoverished, which makes them even more rough. So we're going in there to sell beer. Me being the person that I had been, I had never actually gone to those areas except for Mitchell's Plain and those places, because I am actually a colored person, not full black, not full white, but in between. So went into that interview and said, listen, I may not have gone there, but I'm 100% willing to go there, 100% willing to synergize with these customers, and 100% willing to grow your business in those areas. To say he was skeptical was a bit of an understatement. He said, okay, well, I'll give you a chance. Come up for the second interview with the guy that I actually had that region before. We spoke about various different topics, and we arrived at the conclusion that they would give me an opportunity. Now, this is me coming out of never earning a substantial amount of money to basically earning $180,000. Well, not $80,000, but 180,000 Rand per year. For a 19-year-old, getting a car allowance and everything else that entails around that with that spending, as well as a beer allowance, it was phenomenal. I can tell you that it shaped my life, but it also shaped who I became along that way, because of the fact that you're given this responsibility and you're not seen as a person that is in the current position you are, but rather that you have to rise to another level. And that to me has always been the most defining factor of who I could possibly become, is that if you are given this opportunity to rise above where you are, if people see you in the light that is not where you are, but where you can be, you become better. I forget who the saying or who said the same, but he says that look at a man as he is and he only becomes worse, but look at a man as he can be and then he becomes what he should be. And I believe that has happened to me over the course of my life. So cutting back to where we are at, finish SAB, working there, we had some amazing times, and I was able to grow the region to almost 1.5 where it's at over the course of the year that I was there. But then something happens. SAB goes through this reorganization where they have the current unit that we had, which is the strategic business unit, cut the funding, that unit disappears, and then they switch over to various different units. They change the region, and I end up having to apply for different various jobs, which led me to become an experiential events representative, working under Rena McCann. Also a great woman, definitely very organized and very detail orientated. So end up working for her, running some amazing events, working with some of the biggest DJs in the world, and attending some events that will literally just change your life, like working on the Peroni yacht, going there and drinking beer with various different high level guys. At the end of the day, we had the finances to be able to take them out, but also we had the promo goals, we had the Peroni yachts, we had all of these various different things that guys in that standard or at that stature kind of have, but they don't really have. And we were the ones that had access to this. So we gave them that opportunity to, come and tag along, and they would switch us those experiences for rewarding us with more and more sales. But then some tragedy happened in my life. I'd gone through a catalyst with regards to the relationship that I was in. I also had a very bad experience because of the fact that I was being incongruent with the religion that I was in at that stage, which was a Jehovah's Witness. There was some things that I had done that were brought up against me, and it was challenged to who I was and how I had to behave. So I got rid of this position, took a break off of working for a bit, and kind of just tried to reformatted my mind and reformatted where I was going because of all the tragedy with this ex-person that I had tried to ruin my life by saying that she's pregnant, that I'd done all these things that I really had not done, but essentially it led to her trying to pull me down, and there is no such thing as a woman scorned. Unfortunately, this was one of those times. So I learned a very valuable lesson at that stage. Fast forward a couple more years, I find myself back in college. I am learning advertising, trying to strive my mind and kind of change the industry that I'm at. I've always enjoyed the challenge of and the psychology of sales and helping people to convert from where they are to a product that that can solve their problems. Go into this, and within a year and a bit, I had done substantial, but it was a 2-year course, done it substantially well, but then an opportunity came my way, and it was to be working for another company called RGBC, the really great brand company, selling products like Jack Daniels, Famous Grouse, Hennessy, Veuve Clicquot, Dom Pérignon. So all of these high value brands. So 21, and now I am Uncle Jack, according to my previous rugby club that I used to play at False Bay. So working as a Jack Daniels sales rep, traveling all around the country, making sure that there are events happening. And during this time, again, I had been drinking copious amounts of alcohol because of the environment that I was in, and really not looking after the body, but still looking after my mind, still trying to shape and perform better. At 21 years old, I had already worked for 2 of the biggest companies in South Africa and had established myself as a relatively successful person. I had always told my cousin, Leanne, that when I turned 21, I would be dead, but I'd be a millionaire. Didn't really achieve both of those, but I had set that high standards and high goals, which had led to me actually achieving a substantial amount of that, much more than I would have if I just said that I'm going to carry on in the straight and narrow and be the person that I was. We came from a relatively impoverished background, but that said, we never went wanting for anything, and if we did, we'd find a way to get those things. So, jumping back to the next iteration, working with these different promotion companies, helping out different people to get where they want to go, it helped to grow me substantially, but it also led to me being in some situations that compromised my soul and compromised who I was by, getting people drunk, leading them to drink copious amounts of alcohol, and also just interacting with a substantial amount of promotion people that are in that circumstance with they're not the healthiest people to be around on a regular basis. That said, that led me to meeting my previous partner, and during that time, I had enough. I had said that, okay, I've been in this industry for about a year and a half now. I'm happy to transition into helping my dad out and kind of taking over the reins of being an not engineering manager, but engineer and programmer. So I started working for him. We started scaling the company and doing really, really well. But then tragedy strikes again. This is the the pattern in my life. When everything good happens, or when I get into that complacency mode, which is why I don't get into complacency anymore, there tends to be a lot of suffering that comes along with that. So we got to, I think it is September 2010. We're going away as a family. We're at the Bear River. We've gone there quite a few times before. We hire a house out. Normally what happens, we go fishing, we relax, we decompress. So Friday night, we get there, the whole family, with my mom and her sister. We're relaxing. My brother and his girlfriend are there too. We're relaxing. We're having a good time out, and I had consumed quite a bit of alcohol that night before. So when the next morning comes up, my dad's up. He's ready to go out. He wants to go fishing. So I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna sleep on the grass outside. I'm a little bit tired, feeling a little hangover happening. I'm going to let you do your thing. You want to relax. I know that you have been under a substantial amount of pressure. There have been a lot of companies and projects that we have been handling that you have taken on by yourself. And only now that I've joined you, you've got the opportunity to kind of, decompress a little bit. So I leave him to do his thing. He goes down. I sleep. I wake up a couple hours later, come inside, start playing some games, have a couple more drinks, and my mom says, "Hey, there's something wrong with your dad. Go check on him." I'm like, "Nah, don't worry about him. He's fine. He's been under a lot of pressure. He just needs to relax." And this was a couple hours later. Normally, he would kind of go through without having food or coming back. He's just that type of guy that once he gets stuck into a task, he kind of stays there and until he is finished and happy with it. So I assumed that this was one of those situations. But 3 o'clock turns into 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock turns into 10 o'clock, and he's still not back. And usually he would have the habit of fishing through the night, but sometimes he'd come back and get some food. But I'm still assuming, yeah, he's got a really good time that he's going on there. He's probably caught some Greek fish, and he's wanting to come and bring them back for us and cook them. Right. 3 o'clock in the morning happens. He's still not back. My mom's literally stressing now. So we all go down. We go and have a look at this river. It's called the Bear River. The embankment, there's no one there. It's late at night, and we can't see him. So we start being very concerned at this stage. And I remember going to bed literally thinking, how can he be so selfish? How can he leave us like this and not call us, not even say, "Hey, I'm staying out for a little bit longer"? And those were the last thoughts that I had about him. I was anger, it was frustration, it was resentment. Why would you leave us like this? Anyway, 6 o'clock happens. 6 o'clock in the morning, the day's breaking, we're out. We go down to the beach. We're still not seeing him. We had called the National Guard or the Coast Guard at that stage. They're not finding anything on the beach there. They're going up and down the river. And then 8 o'clock comes around. We get a message that they had found a body on the other side of the river. And they asked us to come through and identify it. It was one of the most surreal moments of my life. Realizing that I am no longer a boy anymore. I am no longer a son to a father, but rather I am the man of the house. I remember having to break the news to my brother, and the scream that he let out of pain still echoes through my entire body as he collapsed to the floor. There was no consoling him. There was no comfort for him. There was just not my father, as that echoed through the Brie River area that we were at. I remember the drive back was silent. We had all of the family, my brother, my mother, her sister, and his girlfriend in the car. Driving back, there was nothing but silence. It was an hour and a half drive back and not a single word was said. There was sobbing. There was frustration. There was outbursts of anger. But no words were said. It took about 3 months for me to truly understand what had happened and to re-piece myself together. Giving my father's eulogy at the funeral, I remember speaking about the fact that he had turned us into the men that we are, the men that we could truly be. He was not always present in our lives, but he was definitely somebody that made an impact. And that's what a father's job is to do, is to make an impact. At that stage, I was hurt. I was searching for distractions. I was searching for ways to get outside of myself and to push away everything else that was, bringing me back to that pain, bringing me back to what had actually happened. So I turned to drinking. I turned to women. I turned to everything that I should not have turned to instead of turning to God. But somehow he still extended his hand of protection upon me. All the drunk driving that I had done, he had protected me. He had helped me to realize that I am still here for a reason. So that December time, I would say, I had moved in with the current girlfriend that I had had. And out of tragedy came a blessing. We had fallen pregnant. And I had had my first daughter. But working for the company that I had worked for at that time, I saw it as an apprentice, somebody that wasn't very skilled, and my paycheck was just about paying the bills that we had. So I had to put my big boy pants on and to turn into the man that I said and appeared to be on the surface. What are all men told to do? Work hard, support your family, and ensure that you have enough protection for them to really not just survive but thrive in life. So I threw myself 100% into work. I decided that I was going to be the best programmer that Maverick had ever seen. When I got home, I'd studied. When I'd been at work, I was ensuring that I was doing everything in my power to gather as much knowledge as I could to outwork every single person that was working there. And that's difficult considering that most guys there were working between 60 and 100 hours a week. And that wasn't about the paycheck. It wasn't about the rewards behind it, but rather about not leaving somebody behind, because you know that one person's going to be working there. The entire team would stay there to ensure that the work gets done, So I went from assistant programmer to technical manager within the course of 4 years. We had been afforded the opportunity to travel all over the world, and during that time, obviously my relationship with the ex was not going well, because I had grown exponentially, where her mindset was still to want to party on the weekends, even though we had this kid, and and really just let loose instead of focusing on the life that we could have, enjoying the life that we have right now. And I'm not saying that that's a bad thing, but I'm saying that my vision and my dream for where we were going to go and where we could go was much bigger than what her expectations were. And I blame myself for the actual conflict and the divorce that happened, because I had lost sight of who I was and lost sight of the man that I needed to be to really ensure that I got everything in a position to be able to be that husband, that great father, that leader. With all the traveling that I had been doing, with all the various different hours that I had had to work, it led to her seeking relations outside of the marriage. In fact, she had hooked up with my cousin. Found out about this obviously years later. But yeah, Daryl Kaiser was the person that was kind of the crux in that point. I'd always had suspicions throughout the relationship, but it became more and more prevalent throughout that he was the man that I was not, by giving her the right attention and all the rest of it, and no judgment. I realized that I needed to go through all of this. I needed to push through and to reach that failure. Because if I had not, I would not be in America. I would not be doing this right now. I'd still be that small-minded person that was back then. For me, I've realized that progress equals happiness. And I was stagnating there. I was being held back by my own perception of what reality should be. They did the study where they took a big pencil and they drew it around an ant. It's the story of the ant, the pen. Black circle around the ant, and the ant would not be able to cross that line, no matter how many times they made it smaller. The ant would stay within the circle. They started doing this to a spider, but then one time they drew the line so close to the spider that it had actually half crossed that line. And then every single time that they tried to draw that pen mark, the spider went across it. Its version of reality and what its limiting factor in its mind was there had been broken. And once that is broken, it is impossible to return back to that small-minded person that you were before. This is what happened to me. So I immigrated to the United States, going through this bad divorce, 2016, the end of 2016, in October. I arrived here with 3 boxes. 2 of those boxes had books in, and the other was just filled with some cutlery. That was about it. And within the course of a year, I had chosen to completely revolutionize my mindset and who I was. I made it a goal to meet 1,000 people in a year. The prerequisites were that I'd have to go up to them, shake their hand, and get them to tell me something interesting about themselves. And that led to some of the wildest times that I've had over here. I've had occasions where I did acro yoga. I've had weekends away to North Carolina. I've also met a group of male entertainers. And I'll tell you the story about how I became a male entertainer right now. But yeah, so all of those things led to me getting out of my comfort zone and establishing the person that you see right now. So, July 2017, I had been dating a stripper in the beginning of January. This lady was quite intelligent. She was a very intriguing person and worked for Rolls-Royce, but was doing this just so that she could learn the skill set of talking to people. So I was like, all right, that's very interesting. I can appreciate where you're coming from. Anyway, hit it off with her, did her for a while, but that didn't work out. And July 2017 rolls around. I had been through a couple of breakups at this time, but also was just not feeling myself, wanted to be able to expand my circle even more. And an advert pops up on my Facebook ad. Male entertainers wanted. Come through for swinging dicks. I'm like, this is very interesting. This creates so much fear within me that I have to go and do it. See, the thing about me is that if I feel fear, I realize there's two acronyms for fear. One is forget everything and run, or false evidence appearing real. I occasionally, or very regularly, choose false evidence appearing real. So I get to Rouge, the door, and as I get there, this fear starts to bubble up immensely, and I chicken out. I start walking back home because I didn't have a car at this stage. I was just walking, and I was staying very much close to Shocker Bottom. So I start walking back, and I'm kicking myself. I'm like, man, what did you just do? You should have just gone through. What was the worst that could happen, Get to my bed, and I'm sleeping that night, and my mind just doesn't want to allow me to sleep. It's like you've made a mistake. You should have done that. You should have pushed through. And I'm starting to sweat, and I'm just feeling this overwhelming sense of failure. Next day, I'm like, screw it, I'm going through. Go through, push through the door confidently. I'm like, what, even if they say no, I'm still gonna say that I pushed it. I did it. Talk to the bartender downstairs, Ricky. She's like, what, are you auditioning for a Male Entertainer? I'm like, yes. She's like, they're waiting upstairs. I'm like, shit. Okay, each step I take is like this heaviness mounting, pushing me down, not to go up. And I'm pushing through each single one of these steps. I'm like, what? I'm getting to the top of this mountain. I get there, and in enters this funny, interesting, but slightly forward dude, Gio. Gio's like, what the hell are you doing over here? I'm like, yeah, I'm trying to come in. What's a audition for this? It's like, interesting. Let me see your moves. And I had no moves at this stage. It's like, well, I suppose we could work with that. It's like, hey, Sean, I think we found our construction worker. I'm like, oh man, okay, straight into it. Over the next 4 to 5 weeks, we practiced every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, non-stop, to ensure that we had these acts down, which was construction, cowboy, Top Gun, and a couple others. Show night comes. I think it was August sometime, and they've opened up. The first audition, or the first thing, is for the strippers downstairs. They actually let the lady strippers come and see us show and examine us to see if we're public worthy. Sean gets the lineup going. He's like, okay, so Nick, you're up first, because I was praying. I'm like, just don't put me first. Don't put me first. Hey, Nick, you're up first. I'm like, jeez. Nick is my stage name, by the way. That's why I'm saying Nick. Heart's pounding through my chest. At this stage, for the first 6 months, I decided that I was not going to consume any alcohol while doing this, because I wanted to know that I had been able to do this without any crutch. So I downed a shot of pre-workout and got ready to go on stage. It was one of the most nerve-wracking things I had ever done, because also the ex decided to come up and view us. But I got through it. And one show turned into 2, turned into 3, 4, and about 7 years later, I had become one of the most renowned male entertainers on the East Coast. Nick Klaus Morningstar doing shows for Magic Mike XXL, for Men in Motion, as well as American Studs. And I say this not to impress you, but rather to impress upon you that if a nobody from South Africa can come over here and not only balance a career as an engineering manager, but also as a male entertainer, start 3 companies, and create this podcast, what do you think that you're capable of? What is stopping you from achieving what you truly can? Because I believe that you have greatness in you. The odds of you being born are 400 trillion to 1. If we had to put that into seconds, it would equate for 126 million years. That means that you, out of nearly 8 billion people in this world, you are unique. No one has had the same experiences, the same knowledge, and the same upbringing as you. Your genetics are unique, meaning that you have a message inside of you that only you can deliver. And if you don't, the world will be lesser for it. I hope that you hear this message and that you find that purpose. You find that message inside of yourself and start to make progress on it today. I pray that you embrace your destiny, that you embrace your purpose, and show the world who you really are. Well, that is all that we have time for today. I hope that you enjoyed my story. It's a little bit longer than I expected it to be, but it's one of those things. I summarized my story into a couple of minutes. You guys know where to find us. You can find us on Excalibur Coaching, on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, as well as Spotify, which you are probably listening to right now. Remember, where there is a human being, there is a human story. Have a great day, guys.